Good afternoon and welcome to our coronavirus update for Thursday, 19 March 2020. With me again is Tunala Ngoba. Hi Tunole.
How are you, Danny?
While we are early today, the Ministry of Health and Social Services will be having a press conference at 5 o'clock. We are expecting important announcements and we do want to broadcast that live as well. So we'll try to keep this show as short as possible. Just the latest info. There were complications to know at the airport here at Usia Kutako, apparently elsewhere as well, about confusion about how the new rules should be implemented. Apparently the cancelling of flights was a mistake by one of the operators. We'll bring all of that news to you in tomorrow's newspapers, of course. We've got a lot to share with you. First of all, we're going to show you some views from our regions and some footage from Keetmanshoop, and then we are going to talk to our journalist in Keetmanshoop at the moment, Micheline Navatises.
But first I must wash it like this, then you put the bit, then you put the bit, then you put a bit of soup, then I clean nice, then I wash my hands like this, then wash, like this.
En dan is ons kry swaar hierso en daai weiland wat nou kom is nou gevaar by ons wat nie kan staan. En ons het lang terug op die begin van die storie as hy gebeur daai kant van China. Ons het gekom brein op die radio om die groot mense, ons is Rida gesê, daai mense, hulle moet stop op die grens. Laat daai mense nie inkom nie. Ja. Maar ek weet nie. Maar ek hoor net laaste weke het iemand of twee mense gekry daarso. Dan ons is nou bang.
Well, Windhoek, Namibia hasn't been affected that greatly yet as what European countries have. So there's no need to panic or rush. When the infections, and they will come eventually, start going about, then I guess we can assume or start to at least take high precautionary measures. It's always
every time you touch something, like the money and stuff that people give you. Yeah. And then how has it affected your business? It's just normal or what?
No, it's not normal.
Oh.
People are not, the customer are not like before.
Oh.
You know, the students are not there. And the people to go and shop are not there. To travel they are not there.
Coronavirus is really affected as a business community, because most of us will depend on customers and we depend on weddings and a lot of things are involved in our business. So by now, since the announcement that the government announced that no gathering, no events, even the school have been closed up, so it really affects us business.
I'm here in Keetmanshoop. I'm Andreas. I'm also a taxi driver. As you see now, the taxi which is standing here. So we are struggling with difficult also because no customer. The people, they are just afraid for these 6 years.
Go outside.
because they want their ends clean, and we are also happy with the customers agreeing that we can give them the wipes.
I'm here today at the Mutual Mall. The mall is a bit empty, but the shops are taking so much precaution. Each and every shop has hand sanitizer as the customers are entering. I'm joined by Gordon and Helena to tell us what they think about coronavirus. So Helena sadu madira aine coronavirus ha.
Helena Mateus urges the public to consistently wash their hands and to take the necessary precautions that was mentioned. Also, she reminds us to keep on praying. Johannes Baisako encourages the public religiously. He pulls a verse from Philippians and says that we do not pray as we should be praying. But in the same vein, he reminds us to keep on washing our hands, as this is the most effective precaution that will prevent us from contracting the disease. Reporting from Keetmanshoop, Namibia.
We are crossing now to one of our journalists in Keetmanshoop. Yes, we're in the far south. It is Micheline Nawati says. Micheline, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Danny. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you also for the material you sent through. Please tell us what is the situation in Keetmanshoop? You've spoken to a lot of people, but how would you summarize people's feelings, businesses' preparedness, the impact on small business?
All right, Danny, the situation is quite under control as Keetmanshoop is taking very needed precautions to protect themselves against the virus. As I visited the Mutual Mall, and every single store has either wipes that has Teflon in or hand sanitizer, two types of different hand sanitizers with different percentage of alcohol, to make sure that the customers get both hand sanitizers. The businesses are affected as the taxi drivers complain that they are just at the same spot during the day, because the people are afraid that, there is a suspected case here also. So people they are scared and they just want to stay indoors. However, I spoke to one of the pharmacists at the Keetmanshoop Public Hospital, and she mentions that the visiting times has been cut to one person per visit, per patient, and it is only for a duration of 15 minutes. But she added that they also have a hand sanitizer which consists of 96% of alcohol. And also the members of the public are not as scared, because they encourage their fellow members that they should just keep on praying and have the necessary precautions, as it was mentioned, to constantly wash their hands and keep them clean. Also, one of the pharmacist assistants, Charles, mentioned that before applying the hand sanitizer, they should first wash their hands, even though they have their gloves on, and apply hand sanitizer as well on their gloves. I also visited one of the private consultation rooms here in Keetmanshoop, Dr. Jacob, and Oberholzer. Now they have a red tape on the floor, which is 1 meter away from the counter, where they have also tags that tells them not to cross the red line. This is for precautions for the members.
Yeah, the social distancing.
Sorry?
The social distancing.
Yes, for social distancing, so that the patients or the customers that visit have a 1 meter space between over the counter and the patient itself.
Okay.
To know, have you got a question for Micheline?
Yes, Micheline, you mentioned that the community members have been urged to continue praying. So I wanted to find out, how is the situation with the churches?
Well, I tried to visit one of the churches, but it is closed since since the churches cannot gather.
Yeah.
Or open, they are closed because of this. So I tried to get one of the referents, but I could not, unfortunately, get hold of him. But one of the church members that I spoke to, Gordon Johannes, mentioned that he pulled a verse of Philippians, and he said that this is actually mentioned in the Bible, but we should not lose hope, and just constantly keep on praying, because there is nothing that is impossible with God. So we should not feel beaten down, but to constantly keep praying and just to constantly wash our hands and take precautions, needed precautions, as our country is not at high risk.
Okay. Thank you very much, Micheline, and we wish you safe travels on your way to Marienthal, where we will connect to you again tomorrow.
It's a pleasure, Danny. Thank you. Keep safe, guys. Bye.
Keep safe as well. To know the whole church issue, because there's a lot of debate, a lot of people believe it was a mistake to close churches. They think they should still be congregating.
As I think that with the congregation of the churches or the services of the churches, I think it does also apply to the gathering of more than 50 people. So although of course certain members do feel that we should pray, the religious members of the country do feel that cancelling of the churches should be considered taboo, but then again we should not ignore that it's a health risk if a lot of people gather in a certain room. Of course that makes the virus easier to spread. So I do agree with certain churches who are taking the stand at cancelling services and suspending services nationwide. Yeah.
I think definitely positive takeouts from Keetmanshoop there in terms of preparedness, reasonable knowledge of prevention measures amongst the public.
I was actually very surprised also with the hand sanitizer that is being offered at ShopRite. It was actually it's a good initiative that they are taking the hygiene and the safety precautions seriously.
Other footage we showed you before that came from Okahanya, where one of our journalists had a temperature test just to make sure, from Otjiwarongo, Windhoek, the capital city, Swakopmund, and also in Ondangwa. Up next is an interview with Sergeant Fabian Amukwelele. He's spokesperson of the Windhoek City Police, and of course they also had to change some of their operations due to COVID-19.
Joining me in studio now is Sergeant Fabian Amukulele. He's a spokesperson at the Windhoek City Police, and COVID-19 has also had an impact on their daily operations. Welcome in studio, Sergeant.
Thank you for having me.
Please talk to us about to what extent the virus, being COVID-19, has had an impact on the day-to-day operations of City Police.
Following the recent development of this virus, Monday we suspended all our operation. We sat with our officers and we briefed them on their day-to-day engagement, which involve they should always have hand gloves, they should have sanitizers as well as masks, and when they are dealing with suspect or coming in contact with victims, they should do it in such a way they do not get infected.
I just want to make sure I understand you correctly. When you suspended all your operations on Monday, that doesn't mean that there were no people who could perform functions that needed to be performed on the day.
I'm talking when it comes to traffic fines, services that we are providing specifically at our offices. But operational wise, it was business as usual. However, we have suspended from the word go on Monday the use of breathalyzers. However, any other issues we were attending, our officers that are doing shift duties, it was business as usual. but we put in consideration the fact that there's a virus there and they should take care of themselves by having necessary gear, by having necessary gloves and necessary sanitizer that they're supposed to have.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand you correctly relating to the suspension of the use of breathalyzers. If you pull me over, suspecting that I'm driving my vehicle under the influence of alcohol, and you have now suspended the use of breathalyzers, how then will you prove that I was driving while being under the influence?
There's many ways to kill a cat, and one of the methods that we use, we tell you to walk in a straight line or to lift up one of your leg. When we see there's an imbalance there, it already gives us the green light to proceed to take you to the police station, or rather to the health facility where we will draw your blood. And then after drawing your blood, we put all those information in your file, and that already shows that you are under the influence of alcohol.
During an earlier conversation, you also alluded to the fact that henceforth, the city police in particular will be appealing to the members of the public when there are suspects to comply voluntarily under those circumstances. What does that mean?
What it simply means, if there's a warrant of arrest on your head, instead of us or our officer physically holding you and putting you in the van, they will simply just tell you to go in the van on a voluntary basis. And only failure when you are not complying, they will physically put you in the van. Because when we talk about a warrant of arrest is non-negotiable. It simply means either you comply to go in the van by yourself, or our officer will assist you to go in the van.
Very well, Sergeant. One of the measures also announced by His Excellency President Hage Geingob was that mass gatherings are for the time being not allowed. If my neighbors seem to have a party comprising more than 50 people, which is the figure that's being mentioned, what can I do as a member of the public?
It's your right to inform law enforcers, be city police, be the Namibian police, for us to come. And when we come to such an event, we are not necessarily only coming there to effect a arrest. We are coming there to talk to individuals and educate them and tell them that there is a directive, and this number is beyond the number that has been given by the head of state. So you guys should disperse, and you shouldn't be such a number.
And again, I can imagine that you would expect them to voluntarily comply to the directive.
Definitely. However, we are officers. Where people are not complying, definitely we are going to make sure that we make them to comply by all means necessary.
Thank you, Sergeant. You're a very busy man, but before I let you go, we've seen on social media, where we all see things these days, that allegedly some members of the public resort to criminal activities misusing the virus situation in Namibia. So they would claim to be conducting tests or surveillance or be distributing sanitizers. Are you aware of this, and what are you doing about it?
Yes, we are aware. There has been reports of some clever criminals that are supposedly going to houses, pretending to offer sanitizers, masks, and gloves. But what I can confirm is that those are just reports, but they are not authentic. We don't have a register case of someone that came to our offices and say, this happened to me. We also have this theory that where there is smoke, there is fire, and we should not let our guards down. We should be very vigilant coming to this time, because there will always be individuals that might want to capitalize on that. From City of Windhoek, we said there is no official from City of Windhoek municipal that is going houses to houses that has been endorsed for the purpose of giving these sanitizers and so forth, as well as from the Ministry of Health. So any person that is going out there, you should already know there's a red flag there, because usually building to such activities, there will be marketing, there will be advertising on various platforms where public members will be told that there will be a campaign of such nature which will curtail on giving this type of product to the public members.
Just best if someone knocks on my door to inform them I'm social distancing in any case and self-isolating, so I can't welcome you, even if you're providing sanitizer for free.
No, as a matter of fact, you can even play the delay tactic. like you are about to open them, while meanwhile you are calling law enforcers to come and arrest that person. You can always say, oh, give me 5 minutes, I will attend to you, and within that 5 minutes will be at your gate and we'll deal with that individual.
Thank you very much, Sergeant, for your time and sharing your expertise. Tapandula Unene.
Thank you as well for welcoming us and for presenting us this platform. Have yourself a good day.
Thank you, Sergeant. There you have it, Sergeant Fabian Amakulele from City Police informing us about criminal activities emanating from COVID-19, but also preventative measures that they have in their daily operations relating to how they affect an arrest, for example.
To know, yes, it's maybe unfortunate, but it's part of human nature to try to abuse situations like this through scams. Even the World Health Organization, you can go to their page and they actually have scams internationally that they are warning people against. So it's unbelievable.
No, it's like the inspector or the police officer said, it's best to be vigilant, and it's also best to just make sure that you're also not naive. You know, confirm this type of situations with the media and with the community police, and just to make sure that is there really a directive for people to be walking around from house to house giving hand sanitizers or testing. So people should make sure that they are well informed.
Tuna, thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Remember, also be aware of online, that's electronic scams surrounding COVID-19, where people might try to get your personal information. We'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon, and remember shortly at 5 o'clock to watch our pages for a live news conference from the Ministry of Health and Social Services. Keep safe.